Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, August 27th, 2023. So I wanted to make just a real short, quick video. I've been working on a longer set of videos during this build, but I wanted to go ahead and do a quick update here. So, the story on this, just real super quick. Got back into doing dinosaur models. When I was a kid, I built some of the prehistoric scenes kits. Loved those models, and recently wanted to kind of revisit that. So I had been doing that, and my girlfriend has been great about accompanying me along this journey. And so we've gone and done various dinosaur things, including going to the Houston Museum of Natural Science. That's an awesome exhibit. Go see it. Incredible amount of dinosaurs. When I was a kid, they had like one big T-Rex, and that was all that I remember. Now they've got like, it's almost like a football field worth of dinosaur fossil skeletons. It's awesome. Go see it. Anyway, so a while back I'd asked her, what's your favorite dinosaur? And she told me that it was a Triceratops. It's a cool dinosaur. I like that dinosaur. And as I was getting back in, I said, maybe I'd build one for her. So I asked her, if you had a Triceratops, what color would it be? And she said, purple, ... with glitter. Okay. Now, purple, okay. Purple, I'm all right with, but glitter is the craft herpes. If you've not dealt with glitter, it goes everywhere, gets into everything, and you will never be rid of it. Just don't do glitter. So she and I had a discussion, and she's like, well, actually, I'm, sparkly, like a metallic purple. I was like, that I can do. So, gave it some thought, and I figure, we'd come up, if it's going to be purple, it's going to be kind of like the Disco Studio 54 Triceratops. And it would, it's going to be fabulous. And so started calling it, or kind of, it's called Charlene. And how we got to Charlene was, it was kind of going to be RuPaul themed, and RuPaul's last name is Charles. So originally it was Charles. Then she said, oh, it'd be cool if it had a feather boa. And it's like, okay, now we're going to call it Charlene. Now, in the meantime, I'm thinking, there needs to be balance in the force, or at least in the universe. So if I'm going to make her purple sparkly dinosaur, if we're going to go with purple, we're going to go, for me, with a Samuel L. Jackson dinosaur, because he wields a purple lightsaber in the Star Wars movies. So I decided I was going to make my Triceratops like that, and a little more tougher, kind of like Shaft, At least that was the Shaft theme song occasionally ran through my head as I was building that one. It was a really good experience to get back into these, and I'm going to share some things here. Let me pull some stuff aside. I'll take the camera off the tripod here and give you a little bit of a quick view of these. Here we go. So, here is Charlene, in all her glory. This was a fairly quick and easy one to build and paint because it was just a rattle can Tamiya. Here's our feather boa with that. So, and this is the base that I made because I had it. You probably can't see it, but there's this line that the two halves of the base do that I had some trouble puttying, and I'm going to come back to that line in a minute here. And this is, bring this around, this is Samuel L. Dino. And so in preparation for this, I got a toy Triceratops to paint it to test out my paint scheme. And somebody on the Aurora Prehistoric Scenes page or Facebook group so that it was the baby. And so this is now Sammy Dino Jr. Yeah, I know it's a dad joke. But hey, I don't have kids of my own, so I get those in when I can. Now let's talk about, this is the base, and I should have plugged it in here. So it lights up, and it's got a little remote control. So this is the base for Charlene. And so I'm going to build that out a little more, and I'll show that at a later date. So some things, I'm going to show this while I'm here. This, there's a guy named Richard on the Aurora Prehistoric Scenes Facebook group whose last name escapes me right now. Taught me a technique. Let me put this back on the tripod, and then we'll continue. Okay, there we go. So he taught me this technique, or told me about this technique where you mask off, like you do one line at a time. So you have one line unmasked, and then you mask the others, and you take a piece of cardboard, put it in your paint. I used a piece of paper plate and kind of tap it or stamp it on the raised lettering. Really pleased with how that turned out. So let's talk a little further. I got a little more closer to accurate with the paint job on Samuel here and experimented with some things. I hadn't done stripes, and so I freehanded these. These are probably a little bit bolder or wider than I originally intended, but it kind of works. I like the black and purple together. Some points of note here. I did the inside of the mouth. I also, and I don't think you can see it, but I did the roof of the mouth out of milliput, which this was my first build working with milliput. We'll do more of that. But anyway, I built, and I don't know that you can see it, the inside of the mouth because it didn't have one. And the paint scheme, and again, I don't think you're going to be able to see it real well, but I looked at like cow teeth and horse teeth and a few other animal teeth, and you'll notice towards the gum line, they have kind of a tartar buildup. So this has got a tartar buildup, and then the ivory for the not pure white but ivory for the teeth. I did use Tamiya clear on the eyes and on the inside of the mouth because of either the tears in the eyes or the saliva in the mouth would be wet. So the clear kind of helps with that. I did do counter shading on this, and that came out pretty well. Also did some experimenting with painting this leaf here, this guy here, and I like how it turned out. Now this base is, I'm going to hold this one up, and maybe you can kind of see that center line there. Well, it's not a line, it's it's not a straight line. Where the seam, or there's a gap between the two halves of the base, which I don't know why they did that, but they did. So again, using Milliput, I was trying to work my way around that, and I just was not getting there. So I added some, like, I'm going to say blobs, but that's probably not the right word, over that to kind of break it up. And this actually reminds me more of when I've seen wet dirt roads, and they're, gloppy like that. On the paint job itself, just to share techniques, I used some craft sponge brushes, and I'd stipple it. So this had an undercoat of a red leather paint all over. That was the base. So I had a dark that I could have for my shadows and kind of have as an undertone. And then I'd use different colors like a buff, and a little bit of orange, and a little bit of dark yellow, desert yellow, and the same thing here, to get. And so I would just tap. At one point I did take the ivory and go around the edges on the rocks, on the hard edges, just to give them a little bit of pop, but then again go over it to kind of work the layers through. So anyway, the seams, I'm going to talk about seams real quick, because, and I think I did okay with the center seam here, and of course there's seams on the legs. I think I did a pretty decent job of filing and using the Milliput. One thing I learned about the Milliput is that it can be water soluble. So that was helpful at certain points to work things in. So, trying to think of anything else here that stands out. I'm probably forgetting a million things. Fun build. It was a good practice build. I see, on Facebook, you see different model makers' stashes, and they have like at least sometimes 3 or 4 of the same model kit. And I get it. You have 1 or 2 that you practice on, and then the final one's going to be the masterpiece. So, certainly value in that. Anyway, there they are. Thanks for joining me. And I plan on doing more of these videos. I will hopefully at some point have better lighting, maybe better camera, better sound. But I just moved into this apartment, so there's still a lot to work out. And it's one of those things, I originally had a plan, but I abandoned the plan, and I figured the apartment will tell me what I need. So at some point I'm going to be putting shelves up, and you'll see all the models, and I'll have my model building set up, and I'll put in my airbrush booth and all that. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.